said, she said. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Tommy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's hot up here in the Northland. I know it is down there too.
Yes, it is. It is. How's the weather up there? Are you guys getting through the rain or getting through
We,
the
I wish we could have rain up here because we are in a severe drought. It hasn't, I've been watering every day. There's no grass left in my yard. There's just nothing. It's just, we're supposed to get some rain tomorrow. I hope so. Fingers crossed because it's the driest I've seen it in a decade. It's terrible.
Oh
So
my,
the lakes are low. The lakes have, 3 to 6 feet of lake bottom showing, it's like everything's just drying right up. It's awful. But, you know, it'll get better.
it'll probably rain tomorrow. You wait.
Because we're going to be up, because squatchers are going to be up at the borderland doing some research. Yeah, then it's going to rain. But that's okay, because I think the big guy comes out more when it's raining. When it's rainy, cruddy weather, we seem to have better luck. I don't know.
Right.
Just what I think, you know. Anyway, Tommy, we have Chris Riggins on with us tonight. Hi, Chris.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Hey,
And
Chris.
she
Hi.
has a really cool experience that she was telling me about a couple of months ago when I was down there for a paranormal deal. So, Chris has seen, well, she's seen a lot of wild things down there. Let's just put it that way. But one of the things she was telling me that she's seen was what what I would say was Dogman, which we've been looking for someone to talk to us about that. So I'm so excited. So, Chris, let it loose. How long ago did you see this and where was this
So
occurrence?
this was in Jackson County, Black River Falls.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been the fall of 2005, maybe 2006. It was one of those two years. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it was fall, mid-fall. And at the time, I was living in a mobile home park where it's got two long rows of mobile homes on either side with the in between of grassy area when there's trees.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taking a stroll with my boyfriend at that time, and there's street lights, along the. I mean, there's two ways into this mobile home park, but it doesn't loop around. So, and they're like, I don't know, maybe about 200 yards is the length. And so I'd walk down one way and then I'd come back up. And on my way back up, my boyfriend Steve and I both saw this creature, this thing. It was fast moving. It looked like it had a purpose. It was moving towards the south direction, which is swampish kind of land. It had bounded around a corner of one of the homes and it looked straight at me and him. And I just got the chills. I just froze solid. I looked at him and he looked at me and I'm like, did I just see what I saw? And he goes, yeah, we did. And it was unmistakable. It was the most, how do you explain it? The back legs were longer than the front legs. It looked like it could walk up on two legs and it had a dog's face, like a wolf face. Um, it was quiet and swift. Now it's fall, there's all these leaves that are on the ground, but it made absolutely no noise at all. Everything is dead silent there. And not a sound of any rustling of leaves or anything. Like it bounded right around the corner. And when it did, it dug in one side of its body into the ground to make that corner sharp, looked at us, and I could tell that there wasn't fur on all parts of its body. There was some like balding spots, like patches. It looked really rough.
Mm-hmm.
Very intense. It was nothing like I've ever seen in my entire life. And my boyfriend is a sketch artist at that time. And we went and I said, okay, let's draw this out. I don't want to forget what we saw.
A new station alert.
Oops, sorry. We did not have cell phones back then. We didn't have cell phones back then. So we got to sketching and I'm like, I don't know what this is. I just don't know what it is. And so I talked to my mom about it and she's like, that sounds like the Brer Road Beast. And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, what's that? And so she said, well, there's this woman in Arthur who wrote a book about this. And all of a sudden, I found out that the pictures that were in this book were very similar to what I saw.
Mhm.
And I was really scared. I didn't really want anyone to know that it was us that seen this thing.
Yeah.
And I might add 45 minutes to an hour prior to us seeing this, it was seen on an Indian reservation, which was just down through the woods. I lived across the way from an Indian reservation.
Mhm.
So there was a report on the reservation, and about 45 an hour later, we saw the same thing. And so my mom helped me get a contact on the lady who wrote that book, and I emailed her a photo of what we had. Or I think I might have actually, I think we actually physically sent it to her address. We asked to be anonymous because I was really concerned about what people were going to think.
Mhm.
And she was flabbergasted. She's like, this is exactly what people see. The people are seeing this where, what you're seeing is not unique. Like other people have
Mhm.
seen it. Don't feel like, you're the only one.
Mhm.
And I believe that she published, or she might have posted something about the photo that we had. I tried to go through and look through some of the images online to find that one drawing that he made.
Mhm.
But there's so many of them to go through. It was just taking forever. But it was an experience that changed my life and his life. Yeah, I've never seen anything in my life like this. And I wasn't frightened by it. It wasn't scared of me. I wasn't scared of
Mhm.
it. But it was going somewhere. It was running to something. Or running. It was running.
Mhm. And
And
how close are you to the Bray, where that area where the Bray Road Beast
I
is?
probably okay, so I was approximately 30 feet, about 30 feet away. Because it, there's a lot of space in between these homes. So when I saw, and the houses are not back to back, they're skewed.
Mhm.
So when it's going around the corner, I can see it clearly going around the corner from the other row of homes between the big spaces in the first set of lots. So it was like
Mhm.
kind of behind my own home, but around the corner of the one that was behind me.
Mhm.
And I wasn't very far at all. I maybe was at a max 50 feet, very max.
Wow.
But yeah, I was close enough. I could see the color. I could see the hair, like in the face. The shoulder, there wasn't a whole lot of hair here, and then it got really hairy here.
Hmm.
Very long, long, long fingers and like dog like feet. Yeah, it was just
In the
crazy.
back. So like the back was like the back end of a dog, and then the front end was more like a person, like with fingers and stuff, you said?
Yeah, it had like a face, like a snout, like a dog, but it had more like it looked like a person, but it was a dog. I don't know how to describe it any other way. It was a
Mhm.
half dog, half person. Like it was just bizarre. You could tell that the front legs and the shoulders were lower than the back hind. So when it was running, it looked awkward. So as the front legs were going forward and the back legs were coming forward as it was moving forward again, then it
Mhm.
took that one leg and stuck it down into the ground to round that corner quietly. I mean, and this thing was booking. It
Yeah.
was moving fast. Um, but it was so strange. It looked like if I had to run that way, it would look very uncomfortable. It would
Mhm.
just, you know what I mean? It didn't look natural.
Yeah.
It just looked really bizarre.
Yeah.
And how tall would you say the thing was?
I'd have to say I didn't see it on all and on just two. It was on all fours, but it kind of did a half motion where it was up, then came down with the paw around. So I would say it was probably about roughly about 5.5 feet to 6 feet tall, maybe taller.
Yeah,
I'd say about 6 foot.
yeah, yeah. And
And it
do
had
you have
no
any,
odor. There was no odor. That was another thing. I asked him, I said, did you smell anything? He goes, no, I didn't smell anything. We didn't hear anything. We didn't smell anything. It just had this strange look. And the hair was kind of silverish, like brown,
Oh.
gray, and then like you could see the skin coming through. And
Mhm.
the shoulders looked really narrow compared to the back legs. You know what I'm saying? The top part of the arm looked really smaller, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And do you have a feeling like he was going to eat, or what he was doing, or whatever conjecture?
I actually felt that it was going to something. It wasn't running away from something. It was running to something. Like it had a mission. It was going in a certain direction. And so I don't know if a lot of people, there's this, it's the deepest lake in Wisconsin. It's called Lake Wazee. And the road I lived on went to this deep lake. And on the other side of this road, it's swampland. I mean, we have sand cranes that come every year that would be there, and there's all sorts of turtles, and it's wetlandish, and you go down further, it's a county park, which is called Lake Wazee. And so it was going towards the swamp area, which is not easy to navigate. I mean, it takes very little water for that to flood, and it's been over the road. So it seemed really strange because there's not a whole lot on the other side. I mean, you really have to dodge out of that area and go way around to get really good dry land to get from point A to point B.
Yeah. Wow. But you weren't scared. You weren't fearful.
I was stunned. I was in shock.
You were
I was
shocked.
like, what am I looking at?
Right.
He was the same way. I mean, we both looked at each other like, I looked at him and he looked at me and I'm like, did you just see what I saw? He goes, yeah, I did. I'm like, I didn't know, we didn't know what to say. I mean, we
Yeah.
hurried up and got in the house and we started talking about it. And I'm like, I'm glad that you saw it, because if I would have just seen it, I would have thought that I was losing my mind because it was so bizarre. And I was glad that he was there to validate that, and vice versa, It was really strange, really strange.
What a ration of luck to have a guy with you who is a sketch artist.
Well, we're both artists. I'm an oil painter and he was a sketch artist. So that's kind of how we ended up together, is because we were both artists. He's better at sketching than I was, and I kind of did my own sketch, what looked like a 2-year-old did it. And he did his. And I'm like, oh, that's exactly. I said, but it had this. Oh yeah. And he would remember that it did have something like with the shoulder being more bare and the hair. He was really good. He nailed it. He got it really good. And we sat on that. I mean, I think we sat in disbelief. And I called my son. I'm like, you're not going to believe what just happened. And he goes, well, out there, I would believe anything because it's considered sacred land, And I've heard stories and stuff about certain things like this on the reservation before. I had never seen any of it, and I'm, I don't know. Sometimes you think it's like mythical or mystical creatures from a tradition of Native American belief, but then when you see it for yourself, you're like blown away.
Yeah.
It's just totally different. There's nothing in the world that could ever change my mind about what I saw. Nothing.
Did you hear any vocalizations at all, like before, afterwards, anytime?
The only thing that I did hear was when he went to put the paw down and go around the corner, I heard a like he was expelling air. It was expelling air. But so what was strange is that, and I noticed this right away because I'm listening to everything and it's so quiet out there. There's so many leaves on the ground. How did this thing get from point A to point B without making any sound in the leaves? I just didn't get that. I mean, it wasn't like the whole place is covered in, there's a lot of pine trees, which, you're not going to hear with the needles on the grass, but there's trees too. And I didn't hear anything except exhaling of the air as it was pushing around the corner. You could see the muscles of the front leg rippling as it dug down. You could see all the muscles in the leg for the most part up towards the thigh area, and then it got all furry. But you could muscularly see everything. And there's a light. I mean, it was in the light, because there's lights in between too. It's like, for safety or whatever.
Yeah.
But I clearly saw all the muscles of this animal on the hind leg corner and also on the front leg when it went around the corner.
Did you see the front paws or whatever, or hands or whatever?
They look like long fingers, like a person's fingers. And They were long. They were really long, unusually long. Um, I'd say, and I have really tiny hands, but I mean, I'd say that they were like someone who's like really like 6'4", 6'5" with long fingers, you know, like a piano player,
Mm-hmm.
and pointy kind of, and discolored, weird, just weird coloring on the hands. But it was really strange. And there was not, I don't recall any fur on the hands.
Mm-hmm.
I recall fur going up the arm in certain places, but you could see the tendons. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not only could I see the structure of the muscle as you know, it was putting
Mm-hmm.
weight on its arm, but I could see the tendons on the hands going up. Very,
Mm-hmm.
very distinct.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw this, and I know that we were like, but it's under light and it's complete dark around it. It actually was in the light. Had it not had a light there, I probably wouldn't have seen that much detail.
Right.
But I'm not that far away, you know. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
the trailer homes are 53 foot long,
Mm-hmm.
and it's at the corner of the other one. But I'm walking along in front of the mobile homes, and I'm at the middle section. So, you know, like I said, it's not that far. It couldn't
Right.
have been more than 50 feet.
Wow.
Did
Pardon?
you notice any eye glow or eye shine or anything when you saw him?
The eyes were kind of lit. It did, you could see that it was looking, it when it looked at me, it like pierced right through me. It looked right at us.
Mm-hmm.
As it was coming around the corner, turned its head, looked straight at us, and then continued on around the corner. But
Mm-hmm.
it seemed like a long time that it looked at me, but I know it wasn't, but very intense look.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe there was some luminescence or anything there?
There could have been, but of course there was light there, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
You've never seen it again though, right? So you only saw it that one
I
time.
never
And
saw it ever again, but then all of a sudden stories started flooding in. And mind you, I didn't say anything. Him and I kept it a secret
yeah.
from anybody. And I just told my mom and I told my son. I didn't even tell my son right away. Actually, I talked to my mom and I'm like, I I mean, I didn't know what to tell her. I told her exactly what I'm telling you. And then all of a sudden my mom's like, hey, I got a friend that's over there on the reservation. They saw the same thing that day. And I'm like, did they call is there a police report or security, like Native Nation security on?
Mm-hmm.
So someone's seen that it was actually logged into some sort of booking on the
Yeah.
reservation that they had seen it at like an hour prior to me. And then I got another report that there was something seen by Toma area, which is south
Mm-hmm.
of Black River Falls, I'd say roughly 30 miles.
Yeah.
Um, and I didn't know if it was the same thing that I saw, but it sounded like it, and it was going in that direction. You know, it just was really bizarre. So it kind of confirmed with me that it was seen before I saw it, and
Sure.
then possibly someone saw it down in Toma,
After.
30 miles south,
Mm-hmm.
after me, like within that evening, late that evening or the
Mm-hmm.
next day. I think it was the next day, but then all of a sudden, you know, when this came out, we didn't really want to tell anybody. That's why we did it anonymously. We were like worried that we were going to be scrutinized. And then when I found out that other people were talking about it, I'd be like, oh, is that you? You know, what did you see? What happened? You know, um, and people started talking about it, but then they were talking about this other thing. And I didn't really understand it. And it's a Native American thing where it's, something that the natives see on the reservation or they have over the years, and it's a creature similar to what I just described, but they have a different name for it, which I can't remember what they called it, but it seems to be actually a very it's not uncommon to talk about or think about in Black River Falls among the Native Americans. They seem to all know about this, which I was
Wow.
completely floored. So I don't recall what they called it, but it's not the first time that they've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
generations have seen it.
And
So,
there's no chance that this was with other things going through there. I mean, what? There's no chance that it was with other ones.
No, you know what? It was all by itself. And that area along that lake there's county land all the way up to a certain point where it gets to, residents, but there's a lot of wild. I mean, I'm really familiar with wildlife. I mean, we got wolves and stuff out there, and they travel in packs. I've seen lone wolves. This did not look like a wolf. I mean, I've seen a lot of wolves in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I have them in my backyard actually. So I know the difference between a wolf, a bear with mange. I know what these things, and a wolf with mange. I know what those. It did not look like that. Um, I live in the middle of the woods. I've seen these things, and I am trying to rationally come up with an explanation for what I saw. Like, well, is it a bear with mange? No, it wasn't a bear. It definitely was not a bear. It was not a wolf. This is not the way a body of the wolf structure. I mean, I live in hunting area. I see this stuff on a regular basis, pretty much on a yearly basis. So it's nothing that I've ever seen before. I cannot rationally wrap my head around what it was, and I'm a logical person, I just, could it be this? Could it be that? It's absolutely nothing I've ever seen before, and I cannot explain it.
Right.
Oh, yep.
Do you wish you could see it again? Part
I,
2?
yeah, I wouldn't mind. Although I have to tell you, I think I wouldn't mind seeing it in more surroundings that I'm comfortable with, like where I saw it the first time. If I was somewhere where I wasn't sure about the woods in the area, like they have it's Brea Road. I can't remember where it's at, but it's in Wisconsin, where they say they see this. I think I'd be a little scary because I don't know the topography. I know all this topography. I know everything around this area. For the most part, my directions. I think I feel uncomfortable if I was outside of my element a little bit.
Yeah.
And I definitely would want to be with other people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that thing could have done anything, but it had no interest in us.
Wasn't threatening. Because don't they say that the Bray Road, Linda Godfrey is the one that you talked to, right?
Linda Godfrey, yes, that's her.
And so do you know how far that area is in compared to Black River Falls?
Let's see.
Do you have any idea? Just wondering.
I
Because they say they feel threatened by the Bray Road beast.
okay.
What I read.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's probably about 150, 200 miles.
Well, it is a ways.
It is a
But
ways.
it's
I'm
probably
guesstimating.
nothing for a Dogman or a Wolfman or whatever. You know what I mean? To traverse, So, wow, I think it's just fascinating, Tommy. What do you think? What would you do if you saw something like that?
I don't know. I just don't know. Probably pull my 45. I don't know.
I honestly, like I said, it was such a shock to see something like that. All I wanted to know is, did you see what I saw? Yes, I saw, because it was just a shock. I mean, I'm on a quiet walk. Everyone's in bed sleeping. It's 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and it's dark, and I'm just taking a stroll in the nice, cool, crisp air, and this is the last thing in the world that I expected to see. I was like, yeah. And its teeth, it had, I do remember its teeth, because it had its mouth open breathing. Does that make sense? Like it was running hard.
Well, you're running.
Yeah. And that scared me a little bit. There's some pretty sharp teeth there. There was a lot of them. I mean, it didn't look like a set of dog's teeth like your household dog. It didn't look like that. They were big. And the fingers were big, like I said, and the feet, the feet kind of reminded me of, how a Great Dane's foot looks like. And I'll take that size and triple it, maybe quadruple it, where it's got the big knuckles kind of looking, that's what the feet look like.
Oh yeah, like this. So it's like, yeah.
Yep.
That is so cool. Chris, for the Para Expo, you need to talk about that.
Okay.
And say what you saw.
Thing you have described, I mean, it has just fit lockstep in. I mean, like, it's just like a typical Dogman. I mean, there's nothing about it that's unusual.
Yeah, it's
just crazy.
I'll never forget it. I'll absolutely never forget it. I know what I saw. I can't explain everything that I saw, but I know what I saw, and
that is so cool.
Yeah, there are other people that have seen it too. And, and that's what kind of made me feel okay to do this, because I'm not alone. And
Right.
it's been so many years now that I can actually talk about it without worrying about, oh my gosh, what are they going to say?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah. Unfortunately, Tommy and I run across that a lot. People don't want to talk about things because they're worried about what people are going to say,
I don't really worry too much. I mean, back then I did, because I mean, I'm in a small community. My
Yeah.
things were different for me back then. I mean, this was quite
Yeah.
a long time ago
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, I think this is so cool, and I wish I would see it. We have looked for Dogman because we have a lot of reports of Dogman up in northern Minnesota. I've had witnesses tell me kind of the same thing, except they're kind of afraid of him. They said that they felt like he was menacing, and one was running alongside their car on a deserted road up in the northern woods. Um, so I've always heard that people were scared of him. So I think this is awesome that you didn't feel that, that he was just moseying on his way, and he wasn't, trying to get you.
right. He was running fast, and his eyes were menacing, a very menacing look, but it was like, how do I, you're in motion, and you're looking at something, and you're still in motion, and one smooth, fluid motion of moving the head, looking at you, and then turning and focusing on where you're going at. But it seemed like forever, that pause time where that freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't scared, but I mean, it was just like it saw me, and I saw it, and it, like that instant, I had a connection with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
had it not looked at me, I would have, probably felt a little bit different about it. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad it looked at me. I could see it, but I don't know. I just didn't feel threatened by it, because I felt like it was going to something. I mean,
Yes.
obviously, this thing was running fast, and it had been seen earlier. I don't know if it had been eating earlier or feeding, but it was running to go somewhere. And, and like I said, going south, it's all swampland. You'd have to really go a long way around to get out of that swampy area. So
probably walked right through it, Yeah.
My goodness, you're paying attention too. My goodness.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, Chris, thanks for coming on and telling us about your encounter and what you saw and what it looked like. And wow, you just painted the picture. I mean, I can almost see it with my, in my mind's eye.
Exactly how it was, verbatim. Everything note for note. Yep, absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Chris. And here we're wrapping up another episode of He Said, She Said. Tommy, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Until next time.
Bye.
Gonna burn this mother down. People try and run, flee in vain, climb over anyone gets in their way. comes down, when the lightning comes down, when the lightning comes down, it's gonna burn this mother down. Yeah. Told you this day would come, called your name. Hell, I told everyone it's end of game. And when the lightning comes down, when the lightning comes down, when the lightning comes down, it's gonna burn this whole damn town. It's gonna burn us to the. It's gonna burn us to the. It's gonna burn us to